Hello, welcome to episode number 32 of Business and Leadership Stories. Really simple. Sachin Bhandary, who's an ocean of knowledge, comes in, gives us a vital marketing lesson, but it emanates from a story of the week. Sachin is from the Story Co. He is a man who trains many a leader. Wonderful to see you. How are you, my friend? And great to see you in person.
Yes.
I know Mysore is missing you, but Mysore's loss is Mumbai's gain.
True. Yeah. I mean, like I was telling you, I was going to hang out with the Maharaja of Mysore, but the Maharaja of radio is more important, so that's why I'm here.
I am extremely flattered. Thank you. Thank you very much. And flattery will get you everywhere. Now, Sachin, today's story is about the New Zealand government, and it's appropriately titled, "The New Zealand government agrees with me." Why do they agree with Sachin Bhandary?
So I'm sure that most governments around the world don't agree with me on most things, but recently, I think maybe a few months ago, a friend of mine tagged me on a LinkedIn post, and this LinkedIn post was about New Zealand government's new law. It's called plain language law, if I understand it correctly, which basically says that if you have any kind of public language, so stuff which goes in newspapers, legal documents, cases, when you're explaining SOPs to people, COVID related stuff, etc., it has to be written and communicated in a way that it is easy for everyone to understand. This is something that we need to tell our courts and our judges, because even my lawyer, when he sends me an agreement about a client, I can't understand it. I don't know what the clients take away from it.
And you also have something known as the grandmother's test. What is the grandmother's test?
So, Hrishi, basically the plain language law is something that I've been advocating for a long time without knowing that I was advocating for it. Because I tell all business leaders, whether they are, startup founders, people who are running companies, working with teams, also marketers or salespeople, that start speaking in language which everybody can understand. Because sometimes what happens is that because we are part of a particular industry, a specific genre of people, we believe that everything that we say is understood by people, while that is not the case. So how do you get over that? Because it's also about the curse of knowledge, right? Now probably we understand a certain lingo which a lot of other people may not understand. So then there comes in the grandma test. What it basically means is that actually you don't need to catch hold of your grandma, and if you don't have your grandma around, I can understand, I don't have mine around either, that you explain something to someone who's not from your industry in such plain and simple terms that if they understand it, then you are sure that almost everybody in the audience understands what that particular thing is. So that's the communication tip for today.
And I really feel that linguistic minorities and marginalized communities, Sachin, they suffer more because of these jargon-laden documents. Especially when they're given these documents, they spend days on end trying to decipher it, and they're unable to decipher it. How wonderful would it be that that business speak and strategy speak were just replaced by plain speak.
100%, yes. Looking forward to the world turning into a plain speaking world and not the MBA speak that we've gotten used to these days.
Now, we're going to come to a shade of the lesson that you've just revealed. You talked about the grandmother's test. There's also a non-industry friend test. And I think that will be a nice way to reveal the communication tip in its entirety.
Yes. So essentially, every time that as a business person, salesperson, somebody who's in a career has to make a presentation to someone, a good idea or a good thing to do actually is to share the presentation, share what you're going to speak with someone who's not from the industry. So of course, if you are going to speak to somebody, it's speak to someone who's not from the radio industry and see if that person understands your pitch or your conversation or not. So what I generally do is that I either call up a friend who's completely outside of PR, outside of communications, and outside of this entire MBA world, and see if he or she is understanding what I'm trying to say. And my best friend actually is my wife, who has she has absolutely how do I say it? She has no regard, or in fact, she gets really angry when you use really big words. And I'm one of those guys who was used to using big words. So for me, it's also the wife test.
Nice. Unnecessary intellectualization is not necessary, says Sachin Bhandary. Sachin does this amazing Win with Stories newsletter. He's also the kind of guy that you would like to employ for your company or for your senior business leaders to coach them solo. So he does groups, solo sessions. Where can people reach out to you?
Hrishi, yes, by now I think a lot of listeners have heard this many times over, but here it goes again. My LinkedIn profile is Sachin Bhandary. Sachin is easy, Bhandary is Bhandary. Once you go to my profile, there's a link which says get in touch or stay in touch. If you click that, you can either subscribe to my newsletter, Win with Stories, or if you want to just have a chat with me and see how I can help a business leader from your company or your teams, I'm game for it.
Super stuff. I'm going to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Look forward to it.
94.3 Radio 1.